Action.
Action!
So we wanted to record a video on what I guess you could call is our Airbnb nightmare. You know, this could be our why I'm leaving Airbnb video, but if we're being honest, I kind of over-prepared and we're booked all the way until February, so if those don't fall through, we're at least stuck with them until February. I know. That being said, this is how we ended up in North Carolina. So we were going to be in Pittsburgh until the 27th, because why not explore Pennsylvania? We were thinking it'd be a beautiful place to be come fall. We would get to see the leaves change and explore the mountains and the hills a little bit. That didn't happen. It was actually a little bit of a hell week. So Monday we left our Airbnb in Ohio, and I have to say, the Airbnb aside, Ohio was actually pretty nice.
Yeah, really homey.
Wasn't expecting it. No, not to offend anyone from Ohio, but you know.
You guys saw it if you watched our earlier videos. It's really nice.
Very true. And being from Michigan, we don't usually get the best, you know. I guess I'm starting to think we're a little bit of a competitive state. But that being said, we explored Toledo and we explored Cleveland, and there was just so much to see and do, and you wouldn't expect it in smaller cities like that. But I thought it was a pleasant surprise. All that set aside though, we leave Monday from our Airbnb. We make breakfast before we go, we clean the place up, we take out the trash, we clean cabinets and stovetops, and well, to be honest, we left it like we would want someone to leave our home. The one thing that we didn't do though is we didn't empty the trash after breakfast also. And so there was, you know, some sweet potato skins in there, and there was some packaging from the bacon, and that was about it. And me, having celiac disease, when I stay someplace for a month, I put away all of their utensils and appliances so that way I can get out my own. You know, that way I'm not spending the month sick. And we forgot to take out the host's coffee pot and toaster. So we were at one of the metro parks. It was, if I remember right, the Pearson Bridge. It's this really nice little park over Cleveland Way that has an abandoned railroad bridge that's been overcome with vines and other really cool plant life. It almost kind of looks like some ruins in the middle of the forest. Well, I guess it would be ruins in the middle of the forest.
They are ruins in the middle of the forest.
So we're over there, and I get a message from our Airbnb host about how we left her apartment absolutely trashed, destroyed, a mess, as she put it, because there was 2 garbage bags full of trash, and we forgot to put her coffee pot and her toaster back on the counter. Now, mind you, I tried talking to her. It didn't go very well. I ended up getting a very passive-aggressive private message as well that said, you know, not in all caps, a great guess, and then a whole bunch of exclamation points. Unfortunately, I was kind of hoping we'd get to avoid that, because before we even went there, we had her and I had some issues with communication. The first was before she would even rent the place, so she wanted to know where I'm from, what I do for a living, how much I make, how long I've been doing it, who I'll be working for while I'm in Ohio, and then all the same questions about him.
Like, she doesn't need to know at all.
No, not really. I mean, as long as her bills get paid and I have good reviews on Airbnb, there's not really much reason to know all those things. But when I asked her about it, she said that she had a bad guess before and she was just being cautious. So, you know, me being an understanding social worker decided to say, you know what, we all have some hang-ups every now and then, and let it go. So then I decided to ask about the internet. And mind you, this is all before we even rent the place. She takes 3 weeks to get back to me, and I had to remind her multiple times just to find out what the internet speed is, because I needed to either know whether I could use her internet for work or if I was going to have to figure out another internet solution. At one point, she even said if I'm that worried about it, just to cancel. Fortunately, that's not an option to cancel and get our money back, so we were kind of stuck there. The condo/apartment itself was beautiful. You could see Lake Erie off in the distance. It was a quaint little place. It was quiet. Her ship theme was really, like, it just fit the spot great. You know, there was a few hiccups. Like, our mattress was rather severely stained. We had broken windows. And then the bathroom sink one day just leaked all over the floor.
Flooded the bathroom. By the way, those windows, they did not close. They were broken in the sense that they were open all the time. And being on Lake Erie, while it's raining, is not a fun time because it rains pretty hard and it comes right into the building. So that's not pretty, and it kind of gets real loud.
Fair enough, that's a good point. So when the sink flooded though, I messaged her and said, hey, Gabriel here knows how to fix that. I don't, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not mechanically or constructionally or however you would say, the plumber-wise, savvy at all. I know how to work in social work and that's about it. That being said, I messaged her and said, hey, Gabriel here can fix this, but we wanted to double check before we did it because it's your house. She said go for it, so that way it could save her some money. And we did that. We didn't even charge for any parts that we used, any time that we used, thinking that we were just trying to build a good relationship. Apparently that didn't work because, like I said, the bad review that's not posted on my profile, a little bit of trash and not putting her toaster out was more important than fixing her sink for free. That being said though, I figured, I took a video when I left just to show that we actually did clean the place because I was like, just in case. It's been a little rocky so far, better have some proof. Airbnb's response was, we don't get involved in the mediation of reviews between hosts and their guests, which, kind of makes no sense, even especially when I have video documenting the place. But I decided to let it go. I'm done there. I never have to talk to her again, and Lord, do I not plan on it. So off we go to Pittsburgh, thinking that the week's gonna go great. We go to Pittsburgh, and our host at our Airbnb this time is actually really nice. She was really great. I made the mistake of thinking, a basement apartment. I'll be able to deal with that just fine. There's gonna be a little noise upstairs, but it's whatever. It's a basement. I'm not gonna hear it real well. That was definitely a lesson learned and not any issue of our host. Again, she was great. And the basement itself was actually really, really nice. It had a kitchen,
Really good.
nice bed, a huge, beautiful, comfy sectional that, to be honest, we considered sleeping on just because it was so comfy.
I would describe it as like a man cave looking thing.
Honestly, yes. With the oak furniture and the gray sectional, yes, it was more of a man cave vibe, but it was still really nice. Problem is, children, hosts, kids getting up for school at 7:45 a.m. I'm a light sleeper, and I'm also more of a second shifter, so I don't even get up until 10:30 usually. Not a good fit, but I was gonna stick it out, maybe buy some earplugs, whatever, because our host didn't do anything wrong. I'm not gonna be that kind of person that blames someone else for my mistake. But it gets better. We got a message from Airbnb that day that there had been a substantiated claim of bed bugs in the Airbnb that we were staying at. Airbnb had known about this for about a week, but since they hadn't substantiated the claim, they didn't feel the need to say anything to us until afterwards. Not saying, hey, just a heads up, this might happen, to give us the option to bow out.
The thing is they didn't even tell us what Airbnb it was. They said one of our future ones had bed bugs.
Yep.
And then she had to call them, and after a long period of time, the guy ended up saying, yeah, it's the one we're staying at. We've already slept in this bed for one night already.
All of our stuff is unpacked.
Yeah.
And so we searched through the place, and there's no bed bugs, no droppings, so that caused us to feel secure, but Airbnb still insists that we have to leave for 3 days and quarantine, just in case, otherwise we can't go to our future listings because they don't want us to spread the bed bugs. So I tell our host this, we leave. Mind you, it wasn't as simple as just getting a hold of Airbnb. So I called the guy, because I had a cancellation, so I called him about 1, he told me it was going to happen, he told me that someone was going to call me at 9, no one called at 9, so then I called it was 9:11, 9:12, and they said that my case manager would call me within 10 minutes, nothing, so I called again at 9:30 something. They said she would call immediately after I got off the phone, nothing, so I called again about 10, and I finally got a hold of someone that said, you know what, just go ahead and go get a hotel. We will for sure cover the first night because that's the policy in this situation.
How much did they say they would cover?
Oh, she didn't say. She said anywhere between the cost of one night at our Airbnb up to $100. Which, mind you,
No, she said like 40, I think.
No, that was later.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was about like $41, $42, because when you break down our Airbnb, since I book them for a month at a time, it comes with a huge discount, and so then it only comes out to like $40-some a night. And I tell her, I don't know where she lives, but where we're staying, you cannot get a hotel for $41, $42 a night, even in some of the less fortunate parts of town.
Yeah, even those are like $100.
So she says that worst comes to worst, they'll cover up to $100. And so we go find a cheap Hampton, a nice, I think it's 3-star hotel. And it was $110 or $11 for the first night. And so we go over there and stay. Mind you, I'm still trying to get a hold of my case manager over at Airbnb, because this wasn't my case manager that said this. This was just a helpful woman who was able to help me out that much. So, mind you, I spent 3 days, because I said that I had to stay 3 days in quarantine, trying to get a hold of someone at Airbnb. Multiple people just passed me around, asking me to provide proof of these bed bugs, despite me telling them that there are no bed bugs, despite me reminding them that they're the ones that told me I had to leave.
We missed a little part earlier. What our host stated.
Oh, that the person that was there before us found a bed bug and took a picture of it and assumed that it was bed bugs. And that it was because her daughter, the guest daughter, had a bad experience with bed bugs, so the guest was very wary about it. The host actually ended up getting, it was either Orkin or Terminex, to come out and do an investigation. And lo and behold, no bed bugs. Meanwhile, I'm still dealing with Airbnb, trying to get my money back, because they had already canceled my listing without even asking me. They had said, we're shortening your listing, we'll send you your money back. That didn't happen for a few days. And they also said that they would help me find a new place and that they would cover that hotel because they're the ones that made me leave. Unfortunately, the people that said that weren't the people that I talked to, and I repeatedly got asked for proof of those bed bugs that I said didn't exist, that we had proved didn't exist, and that I never asked to leave in the first place. Eventually, our 3 days is up. We have nowhere to go, and so I look into getting an in-town suites down here in North Carolina because it was the only thing that we could get on short notice that was also within our budget. So on our way down here to North Carolina, it's probably 2 or 3 hours now after we had to check out. And so mind you, to Airbnb's knowledge, we're basically homeless at this point. We have nowhere to go. And they send me a message that they're going to give me a 10% coupon worth 10% of my previous stay to help me find an Airbnb. I don't know if you guys have ever used Airbnb or not, but last second Airbnbs, they're still around because they're not the cheap ones. They're not the reasonably budgeted ones. And still outside of our budget. So I tell them, look, I've already booked a hotel, I'm just going to do that. And they say, fine. And then on our way down here, we stop at an RV Camping World store because we're actually thinking about getting a fifth wheel. Because, if I'm going to spend $20,000 on housing a year and he's going to keep it clean and fixed and all that, why do that for someone else's stuff when we could do that for our own stuff?
Fifth wheel's looking pretty good after all this.
Oh, absolutely, because it's not even done. So we go to leave, and my car, the readout says that it's in reverse, the gear shift is in park, and the car is moving as though it's in neutral. Randomly happened. And mind you, it's like 4 o'clock, 4:30 at this point. Luckily, the tow truck was able to get to us and get us to a Ford dealership about half a mile down the road. And they said that if it's the transmission bushing cable, they'd be able to get us out that same day. If it's anything else, we're going to be there for at least a few days while they order a new transmission. So, welcome to more problems. Luckily, the people at this dealership were amazing. This amazing dealership in, it was either West Virginia or Virginia.
It was
West Virginia. I was able to fix it. It was the bushing cable, only $125, and we were able to keep going. So the night before we left, though, I had called and made that reservation to that hotel just on the off chance that, you know, Airbnb wasn't going to come through, which, no surprise. And they said that we would be able to check in after hours that night. And so we're like, okay, we're all set because we told them we're not going to get there until after hours. So we're on our way to North Carolina. We're supposed to check into our hotel 3-4 hours later. And, oh, so we're on our way to the hotel down here in North Carolina, and we call them, and the front desk says, oh, we're not going to be here. No, we're closed. You're going to have to find another place to stay for the night. So I call the reservation line of In-Town Suites in North Carolina, and they say, well, I don't know who told you that, but it's really up to the individual location to decide that. And I was like, well, how does that help me now? They said that they didn't know what to do, and that there wasn't anything they could do for me, and that they suggested I find a place to stay for the night. So, you know, a Hampton Hilton to the rescue again, and we found a nice place in, I think it was Canopolis. It was a Hampton that we stayed at for the night. We go over to the In-Town Suites the next day. I'm not gonna lie, I would be surprised if the place had had any updates within the last 30-40 years. I don't know how many of you guys have traveled, but it still had the old flat carpets that the old motels had with the yellow lighting, and there was like stains on these carpets. And I don't mean like spill stains, but like someone threw like liquids. So God knows what that was. And then, unfortunately, it was also in a rather unsafe part of town. Gabriel didn't notice it, but my time on a substance abuse team made me pretty good at identifying people on substances and people looking to buy substances, and quite a bit of that activity going on.
It was the place people go to hit when they hit rock bottom, basically.
Yeah, and you know, I'm glad that they have a place to go. That's not the place that I want to go, especially when I'm going to be trying to conduct therapy from one of the rooms. So, we leave, and we finally find a good place over here at the Woodspring Suites in Charlotte, University City. It has been a joy to stay here. It's very quiet, it's very nice, everyone is super polite, all the families here are really polite. But to cap it all off, Airbnb finally got back to me, and they said that they were willing to give me, it was like $26 a night towards my hotel stay that they made me take. And so it came out to about $76 total that they helped me of my $360 bill. And they didn't even ask me if I wanted anything else. They said, this is what you're gonna get, and then they closed the support ticket, so I couldn't even respond. So that's our Airbnb nightmare, and to be honest, that's probably why once February is up and my stay in Miami is up, or our stay in Miami is up, we're either going to get a fifth wheel or we might just start hotel hopping, because this Wood Springs has been really nice. It's suited all of our needs, and I'm not going to lie, it's been a heck of a lot less hassle.